like to fish, but when it does that, it's going to come back in big colors.
So I could talk to Pros all night here, Nick, but we got some business to get done. Go ahead and jump into this, huh?
Hey, we do. So everyone, thank you for logging in to Livingston Live. We're excited to be here tonight with Mr. the Man, Joel Shangle, and Jacob Powroznik, Bassmaster Champion, Elite Series Pro, here to talk to you all about pre-spawn cranking. We're going to pick his brain. We're going to school. Joel, you going to school with your notepad? I'm ready to learn, brother. I'm ready to learn.
Here's another thing too. So I mean, we could run through like half an hour of Powroznik's accomplishments. I mean, he's done very well over the past 13 years on both the FLW Tour and the Elite Series. But one of the things that people probably don't know about him is that he was the designer of the new Flatmaster. Now, the Flatmaster is a bait that nobody's really heard of yet, and we'll talk about that a little bit because that particular bait is one that's extremely applicable for colder water. But we've got a billion questions that people have already sent in, and we're probably going to get a billion more. But let's just jump into it. The whole dynamic of fishing crankbaits in the early spring, when the water is in the condition that it is right now. Let's chat a little bit about just how applicable a crankbait can be.
You know, I mean, in my opinion, it is the most natural-looking lure that's ever been made. You know what I'm saying? You know, it just resembles a crawdad and a shad, which is a bass's two main forage. And you know, with this bait right here, you know, the reason it was designed the way it was designed is because of its castability. And you know, I'm pretty sure that everybody's across the country has heard of a shad wrap. You know, a shad wrap here in Virginia and North Carolina down at Boggs where we're fishing has been one of the best baits that's ever been thrown down there. And you know, this bait here, you don't have to throw it on a spinning rod. You can actually throw it on a bait caster and be very accurate with it. And the whole deal with the crankbait is making long cast, because with long cast, the more water that you cover, the better off you're going to be. And you know, here I'm pretty sure throughout the show I'll be able to explain to you about line size. But you know, you can put this on a 7-foot rod or a 6/8 rod or whatever rod that you crank with, and be able to throw it on a bait caster like into the wind and stuff like that when you need to be fishing those banks where the wind's blowing wrong or something like that. But that's why it was designed.
Let's talk a little bit then about just the general use of crankbaits, and we can be specific on that crankbait if you want to. But this time of year, when you're talking about kind of varying water conditions around the country, we've got some places the water's dirty, some places the water's clear. Is there a specific set of conditions that you would go to a crankbait in the early spring versus a slower moving bait or a bait that you know you're on the bottom with? I mean, what are the conditions you would look for to throw a crankbait?
You know, the water temperature has to be, you know, I would say 44 to 54 degrees.
Well, looks like
we lost the man himself.
We lost the man himself. He better not have been lying to us about his battery being 100%. Well, Joel, let me get him back up on the line here real quick.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. I mean, we'll get.
All right. So the joy of live anything, be it radio or television, or in this case a webinar, is that stuff like this happens. So we'll get Powroznik up. A little bit of background on the Flatmaster itself. He's back at it.
He's back in action.
Back,
Jacob,
as you were saying there, Joker.
I don't know what happened there, but you know, the 40, I would say 44 to 54 degrees is the best time to crank in those in pre-spawn conditions. And you know, Livingston Lures has a bunch of crankbaits, but this one, you know, when that water temperature's 44, 46, 48 degrees, you know, those fish are out there 6 to 8, 10 foot deep, and the Flatmaster crankbait is designed to cover those fish. You know, we have all different size colors. We have all the colors that you would need for any conditions that you fish, even if it's really dingy water with, you know, as far as the gunners will crawl, or if you're fishing a really, really clear lake, we have, you know, some transparent colors. You know, like there's the brim color and then like a transparent shad and stuff like that, you know, they really cannot get a really good look at. And that's when I would throw it. Is when the water temperature's in that deal, and most of the time, you're either trying to imitate a shad or imitate a crawdad. So I mean, it's kind of easy.
Talk to us a little bit about the specific body design of this particular bait, because obviously with a name like the Flatmaster, here's the thing: people haven't seen this bait yet, so they don't really know exactly like what it's what the composition is. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, it has a really, really tight wobble, and for that reason is when the water is cold, a lot of times they don't want that really, really wide wobble, type deal, and the bill, the way we made the bill for it to get down deep so you can get out there and catch those fish in that, like I said, 6 to 10 foot range, and it's just the castability is what really makes this bait.
Jump on in here, Nick. I know you got some questions.
Right. Well, Jacob, before we get going, after you left us there, move your phone up just a little bit so we can see more of your face. People love to see that gorgeous face of yours, Jacob. There we go, my man. Now we can see you perfect. But
Nick, you're being a little funny, dude.
Hey, man, you're a good-looking dude. I'm a good-looking dude. Everyone loves good people and good fishermen. Well, hey, so I have the Flatmaster here in my hand. Do you got one of those Flatmasters there on hand with you? That Ginrin color?
Yeah, I got about 40 here.
Well, talk about, you helped us design specifically what you wanted in that, that Flatmaster crankbait. So specifically, the thin body, the EBS sound technology in it. I mean, what specifically stands out about this bait compared to any other, flat-sided crankbait?
Like I said, most flat-sided crankbaits don't run as deep as we designed this to. And the reason for that is like I said, the castability, where you don't have to throw like a number 8 shad wrap or something like that. This bait does that. And like I said, the castability is what sells this bait more than anything. Plus the sound and vibration technology that we have in it.
Yeah, no, the EBS is something that's completely, different than any other lure out there and gives you that extra and added advantage. Well, guys are asking on the live feed. I got actually a question in from Bruce, and he's asking, what if you had 3 specific colors to throw the Flatmaster, what are those 3 colors that you'd have in the boat right now with you?
It would be Gunnersville Craw, Sexy Shad, or like a chartreuse shad color, and Ginrin. I mean, in my opinion, that's the only 3 colors that you need. And the reason I'm saying that, because I'm pretty sure somebody will say, well, how about a chartreuse plug or a chartreuse and blue plug or something like that? The reason for why people throw chartreuse plugs is because the water's kind of muddy and stuff like that. Well, I've never seen a chartreuse bass. I've seen a white bass, you know what I'm saying, where he's been in that muddy water where he actually turns white. So why do I want to throw something that's chartreuse when I can throw something that actually imitates the bait fish in muddy water? They're white.
So you're basically 100% on matching the natural stuff. I mean, all the stuff about colors and brightness and all that stuff, that's secondary to you.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the vibration in a plug, it changes everything. You know what I'm saying? That is the number one deal, and I mean, I could sit here and talk, I mean, for hours about it, but, like I said, I try to, I mean, if I'm fishing crawdads, then Gunnersville Craw is going to be the deal. I mean, they're up there eating crawdads, that's the only thing to throw. If they're eating shad, why not throw the pearl white one we have, or a sexy shad one, and get after it, but hey, we make a chartreuse plug, and I got like 7 or 8 of them here in my box, and I'm not saying that I'll never throw it, but 99% of the time I try to match what's going on.
Makes sense. Well, guys are asking, so those colors, cover you for your dingy water, your clear water. Now, what's the gear that you're throwing that Flatmaster on? People want to know what rod you're throwing, line, gear ratio, reel. What's the gear, the setup that you're using for that Flatmaster?
I use a Quantum KVD cranking rod. I'm with Quantum, and I got with him last year, and really have When you get to actually go to a meeting and hang out with Kevin, and he really explains why that rod is the way it's designed and all that stuff, and for the actual cranking purpose, it's unbelievable. But it's a Quantum Kevin Van Dam cranking rod. It's a 7 foot. I use a medium heavy, and I either throw it on a 5-3 to 1 or 6-1 to 1. It just depends on if the water's really cold. Say that 44 degrees, and I throw it on a 5-3 to 1. If it's kind of getting a little bit, little bit warmer, stuff like that, I might go to a 6-1 to 1, because a lot of times those fish hit it so hard they'll actually slack line you, and you got to be able to catch up to them. Line size varies a lot. Most people don't understand that you can put 10-pound test on this bait right here and probably hit 9, 10, maybe even 11 feet on a long cast if you can cast really far. If you want it to run a little bit shallower and stuff like that, you can go up to 15 or even 20-pound tests, and you're still going to be able to cast this bait just like it was on 10. So line size does make a difference, but that's just something you, as an angler, you have to kind of experiment on your own.
And every one of these baits is going to be a little bit different. But Jacob, let's talk a little bit about the retrieval of this specific bait, the Flatmaster. I mean, what's kind of your go-to on the retrieve?
It's just a steady retrieve. Most of the time when I'm throwing this, I'm trying to grind the bottom. We're imitating most of the time a crawdad or a shad. A deal like this, and most of the time we're fishing around rocks, or at home here, it's a red clay or or riprap or something like that, and you're always trying to keep contact with the bottom, and that's why we made these lips actually plastic, the plastic lips. So computer chip, it wears down a lot if you're fishing around really hard cover, and your plug with computer chip in the bills and stuff. Granted, it's a great thing, but the way we designed the plastic in this deal, it never wears out. So you can crank and bang and chatter off of those rocks all day long, and your bait's never not going to run the same as it did as it come out of the package. So that's the reason for that. But yeah, just a steady retrieve. You can with the technology in this deal, it's good for actually stopping it, letting it sit there for a while, for a couple seconds if it's cold, and let the EBS technology do its deal.
I'm going to step back just a little tiny bit here, Jacob, because we actually got some more questions about terminal tackle. Let's expand on that a little bit more. People want to know the knots that you tie and your specific rigging as far as expand a little bit more on just the mechanics of the knots and so forth.
Most people, 99% of people tie a polymer knot. I tie actually, it's a improved fisherman's knot is what I call it, and it's most people will know this if you're listening. Most people tie. You'll go through the eye. You'll wrap your line 7 times and then go back through your loop and pull it down. Well, instead of doing that, what I do is I double my line. So I'll double my line, go through the eye, wrap the doubled line around so you're actually wrapping 4 lines around 7 times or 5 times. I only do that one 5, and then run it back through the loop and pull it down, cinch it tight. So you're going to have like a loop and then a tag. So you got to cut 3 pieces off when you do it. That's the knot that I tie on everything but braid. Braid is just the regular polymer knot.
Just better break strength, or what's the reason for that?
Yeah, it's just, it's something that I started tying about 10 years ago, and I've never had a problem with it or breaking off fish, and to me, it's the strongest knot you can tie.
No, definitely. No, Jacob, that's the thing. Guys always want to know, what knot to tie. Everyone's kind of their own personal preference. You got like the fisherman's knot, you got the polymer knot. We got another good question coming in here that's on the mechanics of fishing, Flatmaster and a lighter crankbait. Do you ever, this is actually coming in from Nick here on the live feed, do you ever use a spinning rod in using, lighter crankbaits to increase your casting distance in the wind? And does your line size change when, say, using a spinning rod on reaction baits?
Yes, yes. A lot of times you can use a spinning rod. in the wind. But like I said, the reason for our baits, the way we designed them and everything, the way they float and what they do in the water, they're made so you can throw them on a bait caster, so you can actually really heave them in the wind. So, but if you're not that great of a caster and there's people out there that have to throw it on a spinning rod, I recommend that. A spinning rod and a bait caster, they're the same rods. They're just, in my opinion, they're upside down and you're reeling a reel the wrong way. But I mean, they're the same rod. So will a spinning rod do the best? Will a spinning rod do the deal? Yes, absolutely. So you have to just fish the way you're comfortable. I mean, I've fished with a lot of guys before that's all they throw is a spinning rod. I mean, anything they do on top water, spinner bait, chatter bait, that they just feel more comfortable with on a spinning rod. And the line size on that, no, it
Coming over.
come on, guys. No, but the line size on that will not change on a spinning rod. Whatever depth it runs on a bait caster, it'll still be on a spinning rod.
Nice, nice.
We'll go ahead and let Jacob answer the door here. We've got a couple of announcements, Nick. I know we've got some deals going on today, or tonight, actually until midnight tonight, correct?
We do. So Livingston Live, we always love giving everyone who's watching a special deal and treat you guys to prizes and giveaways and all that kind of good stuff. So Joel, tell them a little bit about what we got going. I'm going to get the graphic up here on the screen and show folks what we got going on here for our sale tonight.
They're not going away for us. You better answer the door.
That's not my door. That's Nick's door.
Oh, that's Nick's door.
That's my door. That's okay.
All right. So tonight until midnight only, we have deals on the Pro Pack. Now, Pro Packs, there are 20 different Pro Packs to choose from. Go to livingstonlures.com and look through those. These are 4 baits a piece, and they vary according to color and the baits themselves. But here's the deal: tonight until midnight, if you buy a Pro Pack, you can get a Flatmaster, which is a $13 value, for free. So this Flatmaster bait that we're talking about, and we'll talk about for the rest of the evening, if you buy a Pro Pack, you get a Flatmaster for free. That's good until midnight. Go to livingstonlures.com. That's the deal. The Pro Packs are good deals themselves. You're getting a discount on 4 good baits, but then you throw in a Flatmaster as well. That's a damn good deal.
Yeah, no, definitely. You got the Pro Pack, get yourself started. That's the biggest thing. For the Pro Pack, you got 4 Pro Series lures for $34.99, and then you get a free Jacob Powroznik designed Flatmaster. So it doesn't get much better than that. And then also, just to let y'all know, we're giving away free Flatmasters and a Livingston Lures prize pack. All you got to do now on the live feed, all you got to do is type EBS, just like we do on all of our Livingston Live. All you got to do on the live feed, type in EBS. We're giving away 5 Livingston Lures prize packs and a free Livingston Lures Flatmaster. So definitely get on your live feed, type in EBS for electronic baitfish sound technology. Before the end of the night, we'll have 5 lucky winners. Get yourself a Livingston prize pack. And then while you're at it, Joel, tell them a little bit about the Fish with a Pro sweepstakes.
So Fish with a Pro was designed to do exactly as it sounds like. You basically have the opportunity to fish with Powroznik. And have we decided, Proz, where that's going to take place for you? Do you know for sure where you're going to fish your winter?
No, I think we're going to do it somewhere up north, maybe on like Lake Oneida or on the St. Lawrence River.
Yeah, St. Lawrence, baby. Share them the big smallmouth.
Absolutely, that'll be. I can tell you right now, I'm more excited about that than going to my next elite event.
So the deal is real simple, guys. All you got to do is there are a handful of ways to enter this Fish with a Pro sweepstakes. You can text EBS to 313131, which if you're sitting there with your cell phone, just do it right now. Text EBS to 313131. You can go to the Livingston webpage and enter through there. But the bottom line is this: that throughout the course of the next handful of months, we'll choose a handful of winners to win an all-expense-paid trip to fish with Powroznik and with Andy Morgan and Hank Cherry and all the other guys on Team Livingston. So all you got to do is just get your text phone or go to the website, text 313131. Jacob, let's go back here to some of the questions about the mechanics of fishing these crankbaits. We've got a really good one here. It says, we've all heard the adage, crank it slow in the cold. Do certain water temperatures and conditions affect the speed of your retrieve when you're using these crankbaits?
Yes, absolutely. Like I said before, if it's, the water temperature is 42 to 44 degrees or 45 degrees, that water's cold, but those fish will still bite this bait. That's what it was designed for. And like I said, get the bait down there, get it on the bottom, get it digging in the bottom, and retrieve it slow. The slower you retrieve is better. But that's not really um, always the case. There's a lot of different times where they might want it a little bit faster. Where if the water's really clear, you might have to get them to try to react to it. A bass. I mean, I've seen them busting shad when the water temperature's been 41 degrees. So don't you? I mean, I can sit here and tell you 100 times that you need to fish it slow, but be open-minded that time of year, because there's a lot of things that happen, and there'll be a feeding period where they're going to actually want that bait to be retrieved really fast.
Definitely. So that, the cold water has wanted to fish bait, fish bait slow. That was actually a question from a northern guy fishing up in Washington State. So, this is something that I know we covered a little bit, but, when you're fishing a flat master, that 6 to 9 foot depth range, is it any different than when you're burning down the bank throwing, say, a square bill?
No, I mean, you're only thing you're doing is fishing out there just a little bit deeper. You got to have a bait that'll get out there and actually dive down to the correct depth that you need to fish. You can't throw a square bill 9 foot of water, so this is why we made this bait, to get out there and do that. And like I said, this bait was designed for cold water conditions. I mean, it's not a very good. Just saying, and I'm gonna be honest on this. It's not a very good summertime bait or something like that, but in that cold water, in the pre-spawn conditions, and in the fall when the water starts cooling back off, those are the 2 times where this bait is really, really, really going to shine.
Nice. We've got a question here from Travis that wants to know, as far as depth in relation to the bottom with these kind of baits. I mean, is this a case, Jacob, where you want the bait to be mid-water column? Do you want it to be close to the bottom? Do you want it to be on the bottom occasionally? How do you treat that?
I mean, 99% of the time, I want my plug on the bottom. I want it digging rocks the whole time, or or shells, or sand, or red clay, or whatever. I want, like, if I'm fishing red clay, I want red clay on my lip when I bring it up every cast, and that's what a crankbait's really, really designed for. If I want it to be up in the column, then I'm going to get me a Jerkmaster, Livingston Jerkmaster jerkbait, and that's what I'm going to fish. So. The reason for that is to get out there and dig in those rocks that are out there in that 6 to 9 foot range, and with that being said, that's the whole point of this bait.
Well, this is a question you get from quite a few people that we always get. Anyone that's new to reaction bait fishing, especially bringing crankbaits through brush or timber, is there anything specific that you do to fish that bait in the cover, but not get hung up as much? It's something that every novice angler, struggles with reaction baits. Is there something that you do special, or just pay special attention to, what it feels like coming through the cover to keep your bait from getting stuck?
In my opinion, if you don't get hung up, you're not fishing right. I mean, we get hung up with crankbaits all the time, so don't let that bother you. But with this bait right here, it's designed to actually come through that stuff. The first thing you're going to have to be able to do in doing this, and you can practice so easy, is when you're reeling this bait through there, you can actually feel your line, coming up on that limb or over that log or something like that. And if you can slow it down just a little bit and wind it over that piece of cover, when you know that you're coming up on that piece of cover, it's going to help you catch more bass. I mean, because you're not going to get hung up as much, but if you're not getting hung up, you're not fishing right. That's all I'm going to say.
Understandable. It's something that every beginning angler and even tournament anglers, they always complain about getting baits hung up. So no, that's really good to know. And is there any other good questions there coming in from the live feed, Joel? I know I see them flying in.
There's a bunch of them. It's good. Go ahead.
I got a question for Nick.
Hey, what is it, Jacob? You shoot it.
If somebody can tell me what kind of pizza you ordered that was ringing that doorbell, I'll give them 5 flat masters.
Well, hey, I gotta save the pizza. I can't airmail it to you over in. I can't email it over to you there in Virginia and Joel in Washington. But I'll enjoy my Hawaiian pizza by myself. Thank you very much.
Hawaiian doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me. Yep. Pros, what about like banging off of wood and so forth? I mean, is this something where you're going to just switch to a square bill, or are you going to be able to go ahead and fish this particular bait in that same situation?
It just depends on how deep it is, Joel. You know, I mean, if the wood or something that you're trying to hit is down there, 6 to 9 foot, I'm going to throw this bait. If it's up there shallower, then I'll throw, an impact 6 or one of our square bills or something like that. It just the thing is there's you just can't go out there with one size crankbait in your box and go fishing. You got to have a great selection, and there's so many choices out there. But we have designed, as our 6 elite anglers that we have, or 7 elite anglers that we have, we've designed the whole system for it. I mean, we've got square bills, we got pro ripper. I mean, we got everything, for any kind of situation that you have. So, Eric's texting me. But I've got the Livingston. We have all the concepts that you would ever need for any kind of shallow cranking to actually deep cranking. I mean, we got some really, really great plugs for actually. I mean, we have one now. I think that I know that when I field tested it, I threw it at Kentucky Lake here in the last Bass Fest, and I caught like 4 or 5 4-pounders on it, and like back-to-back casts, and I was hitting like 25 or 26 foot with it on a cast. So, like I said, we got anything from 1 foot to 25 foot as far as the depth range. So, in my opinion, with the sound and the EBS technology and the vibration technology that we have in our baits, they're the best. I mean, you can't beat it.
Now it's funny, Jacob. I know when we were coming through with the multi-touch, EBS multi-touch, a couple of years, a year ago now. You're saying 4 baits in one, can't beat it, and the man himself has spoken. But now let's get back to a couple questions. I got questions coming in from the live feed, specifically on fishing a flat-side crankbait. So, when specifically do you pick up a flat-sided crankbait like our Flatmaster in comparison to throwing like a round-bodied style crankbait? And why is that flat side better than a round-bodied, crankbait?
The flat-sided crankbait is designed to have that really, really tight wobble, and I don't really call it a wobble. I just call it a shimmy, because you want it like that, and it's for cold water conditions. As the water warms up, then you go to a wider wobbling crankbait because you're fishing a whole lot shallower. So in that condition, the reason for the flat-sided crankbait is just fishing it in cold water conditions in the spring before they move up to go to spawn, and in the fall when that water temperature is cooling back down and they're moving back out to go to their winter hideouts.
Makes sense.
I want to talk real quickly before we go to the next little break here. A couple minutes ago, I flashed up this particular deal, and the reason why I've got this little picture in front of me right here is because
I'll get up on the screen, Joel. I got that bad boy.
This is another bait that the rest of the world hasn't really had a chance to take a look at yet. And Nick, sorry to jump you on that whole deal, but
no, it's all good.
But we have a kick-ass bait that not only Pros but a handful of the other guys have been throwing that we have to do a seminar on soon because it's a great bait.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now let's get those pictures. I got those pictures up here shortly. I will get them up, and you guys can see what Jacob has been catching even just today. Talk a little bit about what you were doing today, Jacob.
There's a Boys and Girls Club tournament down in Bugs Island this weekend, and me and a buddy of mine. I haven't really got to fishing in like the last 5 or 6 years because I've been going on the elite series, but I'm gonna be home for this one, and we're gonna go back fish. So I hadn't been to Bugs Island in probably 3 years, and went down today and actually caught right many big ones. And most of them that I caught was on the Livingston, the new bait that we're getting ready to release here. And It's definitely a dandy, I promise you. I mean, I had to get the pliers to get every one of them out, and the water's actually pretty muddy down there right now, so it's really good.
And then the Deep Impact 6, right? You were throwing today. I got a couple of them here, and they actually are the Deep Impact. I know you've been mixing it up between some prototypes and that new Deep Impact 6. I got one of those bad boys here in front of me, actually, to show everyone. That little small body, perfect for that small body crankbait, perfect for fishing this time of year. So I'm scrolling through actually right now, Jacob. You're scrolling through your pictures right now from Bugs Island today. Everyone's getting to see those monsters you caught out there.
And all the fish you caught were that size today. All the fish you caught were that size.
Yeah, all of them were big. They were biting pretty good, and to be honest with you, I would have given anything to say that I couldn't make this webinar tonight because they were biting when I had to leave to come back home to do this. So just saying. But the good thing about it is that crankbait that I'm throwing, it's one that our Eric got to make us for actually the classic. It's some kind of new color that we're coming out with. So I've got one. So I'm actually kind of babying it till Saturday for the tournament. So I'm going to throw it a lot in the tournament, and it's hopefully I'll be able to send some posts out on Saturday with hopefully us winning the tournament on that crankbait.
Nice.
That is the Deep Impact 6. That's
right
the
here. We actually
6. I mean, a part of the Deep
now.
Impact series.
Yeah, we do have it available now. Deep Impact 6. That's one actually you can get a better look at it here. Look at that beautiful blue pearl chartreuse color. Comes in the tournament series. EBS original tournament series technology in the green packaging. You can find those Deep Impact 6s on livingstonlures.com. But Joel, let's take a little break here and go into what you guys, as fans of Livingston Lures and coming to watch a webinar, what you guys can get.
So while you're at livingstonlures.com looking at the Deep Impact, go take a look at the Pro Packs. Now, basically on the front page of the website, all you can do is look up bundles. Go down to bundles, and it takes you to a page that shows you 20 different combinations. You've got 4 baits in one setup, one series, and for every one of those Pro Packs that you purchase tonight until midnight in your own time zone, you get a Flatmaster for free. So I'm sure some of you are going to want to go ahead and go buy the Flatmaster no matter what. Go ahead and do that. But also, here's the deal. Tonight only, you can get one for free until midnight if you buy a Pro Pack. While you're there, also click on the link for the Fish with the Pro Sweepstakes, which will allow you to possibly win a fishing trip with Powroznik, with Andy Morgan, with Hank Cherry, with Randy Howell, with all the guys on the team. All you got to do is enter the link or type EBS into your text 313131, and you're entered into the Fish with the Pro Sweepstakes. It's a lot of cool stuff going on right now.
Heck yeah, it is. Heck yeah, it is. Well, I got the Fish with the Pro Sweepstake graphic up. All you got to do, text EBS to 313131 to enter. And then also, we got a few more winners left to give away our Livingston Lures prize packs. I only got a couple winners picked out here. We need 5. We need to get to 5 EBS winners here on the live chat. So everyone jump on the live feed, type in EBS, Electronic Bait Fish Sounds. Type EBS into the live feed. We got 3 more winners to pick out to get your Livingston Lures prize pack and your free Livingston Flatmaster. So go on there, type in EBS. We got more winners to give away free stuff. Everyone loves free stuff. Pro anglers get free stuff. We get free stuff. We want to give you some free stuff as well. But we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us on Livingston Live. So, let's go into, the last segment here with, Jacob, and then we're actually going to be having on here a guest appearance. The GOAT, Andy Morgan's going to come talk to us a little bit about the Flatmaster because he also helped design it as well.
Proz isn't going anywhere, by the way. He's staying to be part of this conversation.
I thought Proz wanted out on this. I thought he wanted.
No, he's got to stay. He's got to stay. Yeah. So here's the funny thing, Proz. So as you would imagine, we've started to get a bunch of questions from guys on the James River and on Chesapeake Bay. And it's kind of the area that you're fairly well known for. So don't give up the ghost on this, but this bait you're talking about right now, is it applicable specifically in those fisheries in that general area that you're talking about there, the James River and Chesapeake Bay?
Yeah, absolutely. Last year on the James River, when I got to test this bait a little bit, I actually got to throw it, and before we actually went into production in this deal, and they got a priority Toyota tournament coming up. I think it's next weekend on the James River. I'd love to get out there with this Flatmaster and give them a run for their money.
The Flatmaster on the James River, that's all he's going to say.
Yep. No, but I mean, here's the deal, guys. We have gravel pits and stuff that the fish get in early in the year. They move in there to spawn and stuff like that, and they get in there during pre-spawn, which it's really, really good. And this bait really, really shined last year when I went to test it. Actually, the one that I had was kind of a sexy shad one that Eric had done for me to actually just to kind of go throw. And when I wish I had it. I can't find it. I put it somewhere just because it was like a prototype deal and the thing. But it's all the paint is actually eaten off of it. I think I caught 40 or 50 on it that day in the production. That's when I called Eric, said we done hit a home run. So, and I can tell you it wasn't very far from Osborne Landing is all I'm going to say.
Giving away the hometown secrets.
That's good enough. We've got a general question here. This is from Charlie. Charlie says the pond I fish has mostly rock bank and the fish feed on crawdads a ton. Is a flat-sided crankbait an applicable tool to fish in the rocks and mimic crawdads, and why?
Yes, absolutely. The crawdads, when they come out of those rocks and stuff, they don't go very far, so they always lay flat on those rocks and stuff. And with this bait, you can actually get down in there and dig around. Is the best way that I can describe it. And we have two really, really good kind of crawdad colors. We have like one that I call a kind of tomato color, and I don't know if Nick has one like this, but if you can see me, it's kind of like a really clear.
A little bit more there to the center of your screen there, Jacob.
All right, how about now?
A little bit more. We're working backwards here. A little bit more this way.
Like this?
There you go. Almost. You can almost see it there, Jacob.
What is that? What
it is, it's kind of like I can describe it. It's kind of a clear, transparent. It's really good for really, really clear water if your pond is really clear, and it still has the red tint that a crawdad has and brown on it. Or our Gunnersville craw, the one that Randy won the classic on. That color. It's just hard to beat. And as far as imitating a crawdad, but like I said, if you have one of those days where it's really, really calm and your pond's really clear, don't give up on a transparent color where they don't get a really good look at it. That can help you get a lot more strikes.
We've got a pretty good question here from Richard Huff. He wants to know, we're gonna move out of just the Flatmaster for a little bit and ask a little bit about just other baits. Your favorite Livingston baits to throw up north, meaning the St. Lawrence, Lake Erie. I mean the smallmouth fisheries. I mean, do you have a specific single bait you like the best?
Our Jerkbait, the 121, is going to be a fantastic smallmouth bait. That we have some really, really great colors. That's going to be one of my go-to baits up here. Is that Jerkbait, and then this Flatmaster up there is going to be a really good deal for smallmouth, and the reason for that is you can absolutely wind the snot out of this bait, and really fast. Smallmouth like fast moving stuff. We have a lot of great colors in that, and plus the water's usually really gin clear, so that's the only time I would ever tell you that you don't really want to be touching the bottom. You can just sling this bait around out there and wind it really fast and get plenty of bites. But those two, our Pro Ripper series, I know we got some new stuff coming out that's going to be available here pretty soon. That's really, really going to work good up there. But it's hard to beat the Pro Ripper. It's a kind of a rattling type bait. It's actually in the Pro Pack tonight that you can buy. Plus the other bait that's in that Pro Pack is it's a Pro Sizzle, it's our topwater bait that kind of walks. It's in my opinion, it looks kind of like like you would say no,
Yo,
throw that, but I'm just letting you know that it's one of the premier topwater baits that I've ever got to throw for schooling fish and smallmouth bass.
Oh, nice. And then, another one of the other baits, quickly here, Jacob, is the Stickmaster jerkbait. In our original Pro Series Stickmaster jerkbait here in the Pro Pack, which you get a Pro Pack tonight, or any of our Livingston Lures Pro Packs, you get a free Livingston Lures Flatmaster for every Pro Pack you get at livingstonlures.com. But now this Stickmaster, Jacob, is a floating jerkbait. And this is a question we got in from, actually on Facebook earlier, is there any specific time that you would switch between from a suspending jerkbait to more of that classic floating style jerkbait?
Yeah, I mean, yes, absolutely. When fish are garden fry and stuff, or maybe fishing down in Florida where you're actually fishing over top of hydrola and stuff where you can actually jerk that thing around. Yeah, that's where it's going to work. That's where it's going to shine the best. But it's just something in that type of situation where you have to just get out there and trial and error it, and kind of play around with it and see kind of how the fish are acting in that type of situation. Those stigmax are real. That type of bait's a real finicky deal. That doesn't, that kind of bite doesn't last. It doesn't hang around very long. But it's one of those type of baits that you have to have in your arsenal for that situation when those bass are really, really doing that situation.
No, that's perfect. I mean, we've been talking about pre-spawn cranking, but the floating Stickmaster is something great for that post-spawn garden fry situation, which actually down here in Texas is just starting to happen, and everyone's going to face that situation eventually throughout the year. So it's another good way to do it.
Now looky who just showed up. Who just showed up.
I think I see someone down there. Who do we have that just joined us?
what's up? What's up?
The GOAT, Andy Morgan himself. Joel, you know a little bit more about Andy's background.
I know a little bit about that cranky old dude. So, Andy, so here's the deal. Andy's a two-time FLW Tour Wrangler of the Year. He's had more top 10 finishes than anybody in the history of that particular division. He wins a lot, does really well. But tonight, specifically, Andy, I want you to tell us a little bit of a story about Chickamauga and the Flatmaster, because I understand there are some stories to be told.
Yeah, I started throwing it really a lot here, probably back in the middle of February. And I was super impressed, to say the least. For one thing, it's a flat bait, okay? Which on a flat bait, as Jacob can tell you too, a flat bait's usually pretty hard to cast. But you can actually bomb this thing out there pretty darn good. So I was impressed the way that you could make a cast with it and get some distance. But I was more impressed with the way it caught fish. I fished it for just a couple of afternoons here on Chickamauga, just out piddling around in the afternoons. And I caught more bass on the Flatmaster than I have any small flat crankbait in the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, I absolutely skinned them. I know Chickamauga's on fire. It's a really good place to fish right now, but they really ate that dude up. I was super impressed.
No, that's good. I've seen you and David Mullins making videos out there on Chickamauga, catching them like crazy. Well, that's something that, a lot of people here in our live feed, of course, live along the TVA. And it's something that, where if you went and got your Pro Pack tonight and you get your free Flatmaster next week, what kind of conditions are you looking for on the TVA to throw the Flatmaster and catch those pre-spawn fish?
My favorite time for and it's a pretty tight wobbling bait. It's got that good tight wiggle, and it's going to dive down 6, 7, 8 feet, which is kind of the perfect depth in the water column that these pre-spawn fish get, especially when that water's under 55 degrees. And like I said, you can cast it really well, and it's just one of those baits that you have to have in your tackle box when you're talking about anywhere on the Tennessee chain, for sure, on a pre-spawn situation. You want a bait in there that's got the tight wiggle, that's got the sound like you want, and you've got the, multi-options in the colors, shad patterns, your crawl patterns, your reds. Anywhere on the Tennessee River, if you've got your chartreuses, your reds, and your crawl patterns, you can catch bass, especially if you've got a good tight wobbling bait like the Flatmaster. that you can cast and cast accurately. Some of these bait, some of these fish are on some of these rock walls, but the majority of them we're catching was just on channel breaks and channel bends. Like a good long cast, you could get the bait down, tight wobble. We got the sound attraction of the EBS, and man, like I said, they would just smoke it. It's just a bait you have to have in your tackle box every pre-spawn situation. And Jacob could tell you, I know they've been to Bugs Island here the last few days, and in pre-spawn situation at Bugs, I can remember years ago that a flat-sided crankbait, you could absolutely jack them on it, and I know that Flatmaster would be even perfect over on the Bugs Island area too in Virginia.
No, definitely. That's something that, this is actually a question to go back to Jacob. Jacob, what are you looking for here on the live feed? We're seeing people, sending questions. Locations, when you're trying, and we'll get Andy's opinion on this one too, is, right now when you're fishing that 6 to 9 foot depth range, what type of, you go to a lake, and what type of cover and location on the lake are you looking for those fish that are staging to move up and spawn?
In my opinion, 99% of the time it's either red clay or rocks, and it's that easy. You know what I'm saying? And most of the time it's either in a pocket where it has the deepest little channel bank that runs in is where they're going to be, or they're going to be on that secondary point, or they're going to be on the main point. So, when you get out there in these situations, just let the fish kind of tell you what dictate kind of how you fish. This is me. When I start this time of year, I always start on the main point, and I fish my way all the way through the whole pocket and out to the other point. And by that time, when I go through a couple of those pockets that I know the fish live in 99% of the time, if I get those bites on the little channel bank or the secondary point back there, this time of year it's a very, very easy pattern type deal where you can kind of run the whole lake and kind of figure out what they're doing.
Andy, you're nodding your head. Do you agree? Yeah.
I agree 100% with that. Jacob's exactly right. You kind of find and set your pattern up, but by that day, and this patterns change hourly to hourly, day to day. But you find them with a trolling motor. You put the trolling motor down at the first point going in the pocket, and you fish all the way through the pocket, and you kind of determine your pattern. Especially if you have some knowledge of the lake, and you know that these areas always have fish. And on the Tennessee River, really kind of the only thing that really differs on that, they use ditches and channels a lot more, especially those channels and ditches that dissect through these flats. You'll either find them at the mouth of the ditch as they start to go back, or halfway back in the ditch, or sometimes actually where it actually starts to flatten out and you get that last deep water. They'll stage up in any of those three areas. But in between going through those areas, you can kind of pick up on things, whether it's, a little bit of rock cover, some wood cover, or even an inside or an outside grass line. So you just kind of, like Jacob said, you let the fish kind of tell you, where they are, what they want, and you just kind of, match your bait to the depth you're trying to fish and the water temperature and the water color on your colors of your lures and etc.
Oh, definitely. That's something that everyone wants to know. How can I find the fish? That's the easiest, people always ask people where can they find fish, instead of going and find it for themselves. So that's a really good way to do it, is cover that whole entire cove and look for those fish. Well, I got a question coming in from Bruce on the live feed, and he's a novice with electronics. And so his question for both of you guys, because I see, Andy there in your boat, you got that 10-inch fish finder behind you, and then Jacob, of course, has got double, big double Lowrances. Are electronics helping you locate these fish in that 6 to 9 foot range? Because according to Bruce, since he's kind of a novice with electronics, he's only seeing, he's only comfortable reading, 10, 20, 30 feet deep. That shallow water, is something like side imaging helping you guys find those fish?
No, I use it more, and Jacob probably agree with this. I use it more for the mapping when it comes to anything above 10 feet and shallower. I'm just looking for that contour. And your mapping in these units and these Garmin units is excellent. And you're hunting the ditches and the channels and the bends in the channels, and you can run straight through. Yes, it helps you find the areas to fish, but as far as dots on the bottom or whatever, I don't put a lot of confidence in actually a fish letting me run over him in less than 10 feet of water. Well, you think, 10 feet of water is pretty deep. Well, if I jump in the pool and dive down, man, that's a pretty long ways to swim down 10 feet and hold your breath. But if you look at the length of your boat, my boat's 21 feet long. Half of my boat length, I can't get to a bass if he's between me and the bank. I can't get within 10 feet of a bass between me and the bank. He's going to leave. So if I run him straight over, he's probably going to leave.
What do you say, Jacob?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. You know, for most of the time when you're up there cranking and doing that, maybe the only thing that I can say that might help you is maybe looking for shad. You know, if you can get some shad, but you still, like Andy said, don't run over them with the big motor. They're still on the trolling motor. So, you know, as far as seeing actually fish in 10 foot, no. Most of that's just going to be you fishing and finding them yourself. But, you know, you can look for bait and stuff on there. And if you know, that time of year, they're, like I said, they're either feeding on shad or crawdads. So, I mean, it's basically you just put your trolling motor down and get the slinging.
Yeah, and it does shorten the process. Don't get me wrong, with the mapping and et cetera, it does shorten the process. I don't have to go and pull a map out and look for every little turn and every little bend. I can go straight to it and sit down within 30 feet of it and sneak up to it, put your trolling motor down, fish that little bend. Say if I've got some bites in creek mouths, I can run so many more of those without having to actually look for them on a map. I can see them on my electronics on that map and go straight to them. So yeah, it shortens the process drastically.
Andy, I don't know what exactly is going on down there, but I've seen a whole lot of social media posts from a whole bunch of different guys on Chickamauga. What do you got going on right now?
Well, man, it's just, and I've said it for the last couple of years, it's been on fire. It's kind of the perfect storm. You know, it's the Tennessee River. It's fertile. It's got a ton of fish in it. The water quality is really good right now. We've had some stocking programs that we've had in the lake for, I don't know, probably a dozen years or so. And it's just the perfect storm. We've got good water quality, as I said. We've got a stocking program, and we've got the aquatics coming back. So you've got the fish, you've got the fertility. So it's just the perfect storm. I mean, the Tennessee River over and over, and it's not just Chickamauga, but just Chickamauga happens to be on fire right now. And, man, they're just biting. I probably, in my lifetime, I've never seen it as good as it is right now. Now, as far as numbers of fish, there's tons of fish in that 2.5 to 5 pound range. A friend of mine caught 102 last week in one day. 102 bass, fishing shallow, not a ledge deal, fishing shallow. It's in the bank, caught 102 bass. They had 30 over 5 pounds. Today, I was out here at Blue Water Campground right here in Richland Creek in Dayton. No longer than I was there, we went crappie fishing for a little while. I seen a 10-2 and a 9-32. I mean, it seems everybody's toting one around. Around that they want you to weigh, and they'll take it out, weigh the fish, and turn it loose. So catch and release, we've got that rolling, and got a lot of fish in here and a lot of biting bass right now in Chickamauga.
So let's, Nick, let's go ahead and serve up one last quick reminder here before we kind of get toward the end of the hour here. We've got deals going on until midnight tonight. If you purchase a Pro Pack, go to the Livingston Lures website, click on Bundles. It'll take you to a page that shows you 20 different Pro Packs. That's four baits. If you purchase one of those bundles, you get a Flatmaster for free. So you've got a deal on the bundles for one. You get 4 baits. Is that a Flatmaster you got there, Morgan?
Absolutely.
What color is that?
Whatever is it at, Andy? You got you there?
Yeah, there it is.
Yep.
Yeah, what specific color is that, Andy? That's the one you were catching all those fish on the TVA.
It is. I mean, it's basically just a chartreuse with a purple or blue back, either one.
Purple sea shad.
It's a color that's a staple. I mean, you always got to have that. And this one, any of your crawl colors, your reds, when the water's a little dirtier, and your shads. But this is one that seems to always catch a bass. Water can be a little clean, the water can be a little dirty. You can catch them on a chartreuse with black, blue, or a purple back. That's a staple.
Praz, before we cut you loose, let's talk a little bit here. We've had some interest in the Winyah Bay tournament, the Elite Series, which is your next elite tournament. There's not a lot of people who know much about that fishery, including myself. I've never been there. So when I land in Charleston here in about a week or so, that's the first I'll ever have seen it. Tell us about that a little bit.
You know, it's going to be one of those really tough tournaments, in my opinion. Not for the sake of catching fish, just for catching some big ones. But in my opinion, somebody's got to win. So it doesn't matter if you win with 8 pounds a day or you win with 20 pounds a day. Somebody's got to win the tournament, and sometimes these can be really good or they can be really bad. But I look forward to it. It's somewhere new. Nobody really knows that much about it, and we'll get out there and really show our true colors and see who can figure that deal out in 3 days and go with it.
Break it down a little bit, if you would. I mean, so basically, I mean, Winya Bay, I mean, it's a saltwater bay. So what are some of the mechanics of the rivers that go into it? Because what I keep hearing is that, oh man, we're going to run a long ways. Is that what you expect?
Well, yeah, I mean, you have the opportunity to do that, and you have an opportunity to maybe stay close, but, on that deal of staying close, it's going to be, fish really, really small where those fish live at because of that saltwater type deal that's there. But, I'm kind of used to that here on the James River. We have saltwater that's very close to a bunch of the stuff that we fish, and I kind of know how to deal with that maybe a little bit more than most, and hopefully I won't have to run that 125 miles every day.
No, definitely. That's something that,
Ooh.
yeah, we always talk about. Jacob, this is something going into that we were talking about earlier before we went live about having to make those long runs going to those lakes, and it's not necessarily we don't think it's necessarily good for the tournament location. Do you think it'd be better if they took tournaments to places where you guys wouldn't have to run 100 miles each way to go catch those fish?
I mean, it's just kind of one of those deals where hey, let's try it once. If it works really good, then we can expand on it. But I'd rather go somewhere where we can actually slugfest them. I mean, I like catching fish. I like winding them in, and I don't like running 100 miles. I guess your mind gets to wandering way too much when you're sitting behind that Ranger steering wheel running that long. But I mean, there's just so many variables that can happen in that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we get over there in the harbor and all that stuff gets really, really rough. A lot of people aren't going to make it back, and I mean, I hate to say it, but there's going to be breakdowns where people running that far, they're going to break down. I mean, that's just part of what we do, and for that, they're going to put all their eggs in one basket, and they're going to get crushed.
Definitely. Well, I think Andy probably has a different answer to that one, assuming he's sitting in that bullet that goes about 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, but I'm like Jacob. I mean, when you're running that far, man, anything can happen. You can take a wrong turn. You can, pull a bunch of sealed up in your engine and get an overheat. I mean, you can do a lot of different things there and you not make it back. You can run out of gas. I mean, you're talking fuel consumption, and everybody that's making that long run, you have to have a lot of planning. Everything has to go perfect. If you got a 20-mile-an-hour south wind, it's bucking up that river, you got trouble. There's a lot of different variables, but on the other hand, it's also nice to have that option. If you want to run 100 miles, you can. Kind of me, if I had an option and you could run away from the crowd and get away from the people, I would be good with that. And looking at that tournament that the elite guys are going to, that's going to be a little doozy right there. That's going to be a grinder. It's going to be a place where people's got a little knowledge, and Jacob's one of the best natural pure fishermen in the country. He's an old country boy. He'll find a place to get in there and lay with it and figure out how to catch what bass are there. And I don't know anything about that place, but I would say it doesn't have a super population of bass. And what few are there, Powroznik will probably figure out how to catch them. And you don't have to catch them all in one day. You just got to catch a few of them for 4 days.
Yep.
Definitely. Well, Joel, we're going into our final period here for questions. So, everyone, I just want to take a quick break. Let everyone take your questions, put them on the live feed, because we only got a few minutes left. We got about 5 minutes left or so of you guys being able to talk directly to Jacob and Andy. So, put your questions in on the live feed, and we're going to get them answered here in these last 5 minutes. But
we should point out real quick here, Nick, that the Livingston Fish with the Pro Sweepstakes will allow 2 people to fish with these 2 guys right here. Chickamauga, the place that Andy was just talking about, I'm pretty sure that the winner of Andy's portion of Fish with the Pro is going to go fish Chickamauga. Bottom line is that you want to enter. It's real simple. All you have to do is pick up your cell phone and text EBS to 313131. That's all you got to do. You can go to the website if you want to go to livingstonlures.com, enter through there. But at the end of this contest, we're going to choose winners to fish with with Jacob, and to fish with Andy, and to fish with Casey Ashley, and with Randy Howell, and with David Dudley, and all the guys who are part of the team. You want to talk about a cool opportunity to do something with the best guys in the country on the best fisheries in the country. I'm not sure how you could lose with that one.
Hell, can I put in for it?
Yeah, I tell you, right?
Absolutely.
No, definitely. Well, you know what, guys? I'll have, we have 4 winners here, like we're giving away the Livingston prize packs. We need one final winner here to close out the night after I answer a couple more last final questions. Close out the night. We got one more winner to pick. So make sure you type in EBS on the live feed, live chat feed. Type in EBS. Blow that screen up with EBS, and we will pick one final winner and get our winners announced for that Livingston prize pack with a free Flatmaster. We'll give you the hat, T-shirt, and I'm sure we can even get Jacob and Andy to sign a few baits and send them out your way as well. So everybody wants some free stuff. So we get them picking up the live feed here. Everyone's blowing it up with EBS. We're going to pick one final winner. Now, Andy, this is a quick question that came in live feed while people are typing in their EBS here. Your favorite colors for the TVA on the Flatmaster right now, your top 3, types of colors you'd be throwing.
Yeah, that's an easy one. I'll actually even show you. I got them sitting right in front of me.
That looks like the Deep Impact 6 right there.
No, it's Flatmaster.
Oh, okay, I can see there. Perfect.
And of course, the one I had in my hand just a minute ago. I mean, you take, man, anything, you've got your shad pattern, you've got your reds, which I love the red, especially here when you've got some dirty water, and especially the month of February when you got that water. You can catch some absolute giant smallmouth on this dude right here. And largemouth too, but we catch a lot of big smallmouth, especially on this bait. It dives the perfect depth. 6, 7, 8 feet of water. When that water's got some stain to it, a red is hard to beat. And of course, this is always a staple. I've always got one of these pretty much tied on. And as the water cleans a little bit in some sunny days, I'm going to put any of our shad patterns on. And
yeah, pop up the Ginrin right there. That's the one that actually Jacob was talking about there, the Ginrin color Flatmaster.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. That's the first plug I ever seen that had any of this coloring on it was an old homemade plug years ago that just had the old foil, just the old tin foil, and the coating, the hard coating over it, and it looked terrible, but my God, it would catch them. And of course, we have this bait now, the Ginrin, and it's just beautiful. It's perfect. Light, it's perfect, dives well, and I like how we kind of fade the bill in the front. It gives it just a little white texture, a little white front on the bill. They will absolutely eat this dude up at times. When they're really keyed in on shad and that water gets a little cleaner and some good sunny days, you can mash them on this dude.
Nice. That actually is a great color for our northern guys as well. We got a lot of people watching from Michigan, Wisconsin, Ohio. Those areas that Ginrin color is really good at matching kind of the shiner, chub shiner color. Those bait fish that aren't necessarily shad. So
that's right.
Those northern fisheries. So
we got one quick one here before we wrap up too. Now, then this will Powroznik you first. Colors specifically for smallmouth.
I would say the brighter the better.
Okay.
I'm in the same boat for sure. Your reds, your bright chartreuses, even up north. I know what I've caught up there up north. Cranking have been on something bright, and right here at home, anything in a red color is tough to beat.
Nice. The brighter the color, those big smallmouth with big shoulders seem to just love those bright colors like spring craw or chartreuse sunrise shad like you had, there in the boat there with you, Andy. So we really appreciate it, guys. You guys have been awesome. We got, you guys can ask a final few questions if you'd like. But Joel, one last time tonight, what can guys for watching Livingston Live, what can they get?
So go to www.livingstonlures.com. Click on there's the menu up top that basically says lures. Look for bundles. What that'll do is it'll take you to the Pro Pack page where you've got 20 different lure bundles to choose from. Each one of these bundles is 4 different lures. Take a look, different color combinations, different bait combinations. Every one of these bundles that you purchase tonight until midnight you'll get a free Flatmaster. This is the bait that the Powroznik has talked about throughout the course of this entire webinar. You get a free Flatmaster. All you got to do is go choose a bundle, and if you want to buy Flatmasters, you can certainly buy them while you're online. There's no doubt about that. But deal of tonight is until midnight, you get a free Flatmaster for every bundle that you buy.
Yeah, definitely. Before midnight, you can jump on there. I'm actually pulling up that graphic right now. You guys can get a Pro Pack. And Jacob, specifically, you were talking about the colors there. They're all shad colors. A great starter kit for anglers that are just looking to get started, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And that's something that we want to be able to offer anglers, is something to be able to get yourself started. Pro Pack's only $34.99. It's actually a discount on the Pro Series lures for you. Plus, you get the free Flatmaster. So we want to thank everyone for hanging out with us at Livingston Live. And we got 5 winners here to give away some signed lures and some free lures too. So I want to make sure to announce those guys. I think we lost Andy on there, but we want to get you guys all these winners here. We thank you guys for watching Livingston Live. We're going to announce these winners. We got John Reynolds, Jamie Johnston, Bill Schneider, Noah Rogers, and Bruce Callis. Make sure you guys send us a message on Facebook or send us a message here on Google or via email. Just contact us over the customer service line. Get us your information, and we'll be sure to get you some signed lures, a free Livingston Lures Flatmaster hat and T-shirt. We'll get you guys a whole Livingston Lures prize pack. We appreciate everyone for coming on to Livingston Live. Joel, I appreciate your time, my man, my co-host, partner in crime, keeping us on track. And Jacob, thanks so much for joining us on Livingston Live. I know we kept you a little longer, and you want to come over here and steal my pizza from my house, but we appreciate you hanging out with us.
I'm going to get a hold of your head when I see you.
Well, I can't wait, Jacob. We're going to see you down here, and actually, we'll see you at Toledo Bend at the Bass Elite Series. You got a great history there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me, and can't wait to do it again.
Awesome. Well, hey, we appreciate it, Jacob. Thanks a ton. And everyone, thank you so much for watching Livingston Live. We're going to be having these throughout the rest of the year where you guys get to talk one-on-one with our Livingston Lures pros. So be on the lookout every couple weeks. Livingston Live here, learning fishing tactics. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Till next time. Thank y'all.